If you're just getting started with camera trap photography, you probably know this feeling. You put your camera out in the field, wait full of excitement, and then you finally check the memory card. It's either full of empty images or nothing at all. And very often it's not because there are no animals around, but because of small beginner mistakes that almost everyone makes at the start. In this video, I'll show you 5 common mistakes in camera trap photography and how you can easily avoid them. And at the end, I've got an extra tip that is probably the most important one of all.
Hi, I'm Yannick, a passionate wildlife photographer with a special interest in camera trap photography. After almost 6 years in this particular field, I'd like to share some of my tips with you. But so much for me, without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Mistake 1. Flash power is not the same as shutter speed. A very common beginner mistake is assuming that flash power directly determines to the shutter speed. For example, giving that 1/16 power equals a shutter speed of 1/16 of a second. In reality, these are two completely different things, and the actual flash duration can vary significantly depending on the flash model and brand. As a simple rule of thumb, the lower the flash power, the better motion will be frozen. In my own camera trap photography, I usually work around 1/8 power. If you can increase the power towards 1/4, you will get a brighter image, but the risk of ghosting, especially in winter scenes with snow or other light sources, becomes much higher. Mistake 2. Transmitters and receivers running the wrong channels. This sounds trivial, but it happens more than you might think. I remember being extremely frustrated during one of my first camera trap setups because I simply couldn't figure out why those flashes wouldn't trigger. To understand the issue, let's look at a typical setup, like the one I use. You have a sensor running on channel 1 and the receiver connected to the camera also running on channel 1. However, what doesn't work is setting a transmitter on the camera's hot shoe and the flash receivers to the same channel as well. In that case, the flashes won't trigger correctly. So the flashes need to be set to a different channel, for example channel 2. Small details like this can cost you a lot of time and nerves in the field. That's why it's always worth setting and testing everything at home first, so that once you are out in the field you can focus on composition and the scene instead of troubleshooting technical problems. Mistake 3. Leaving autofocus turned on. Many people simply leave autofocus enabled because that's what we're used to in regular photography. But in camera trap photography, especially at night, this can become a real problem. Why, you may ask? At the critical moment, the camera may still try to focus, struggle to find enough contrast or take just a fraction of a second too long. And in that exact moment, the animal is already out of frame. The result? Blurry images or completely missed triggers. The better solution is to focus automatically in advance, lock the focus and then switch autofocus off. This way you know the camera will fire instantly at the moment of triggering without any delay. Mistake 4. Too much activity around the camera. Especially in the beginning, it's very tempting to check your camera traps all the time. You're curious, you want to know if everything works, if you already captured something, so you might visit the location every few days. The problem is that many wild animals are very sensitive to human activity and human scent. If there is constant disturbance at a site, some animals will avoid the area completely or change their behavior. That can make an otherwise perfect location suddenly appear empty. It's much better to leave your setups undisturbed as much as possible, check them only at reasonable intervals and keep activity at the site to a minimum. Very often, capture rates increase significantly once a location is simply given more time. In my case, for example, I only check the camera traps every 4 to 6 weeks. Mistake number 5. Incorrect sensor positioning. Another very common mistake is improper sensor placement. If the sensor is aimed at open sun-exposed areas, or if there's many moving grasses, leaves or branches within the detection zone, you can end up with countless false triggers. Wind movement, changing sunlight or temperature differences can constantly trigger the system, even when no animal is present. This not only creates thousands of unnecessary images, but also drains batteries and fills memory cards much faster. And that's why you should position sensors in more sheltered areas whenever possible, where vegetation movement is minimal and direct sunlight does not hit the sensor. Extra tip: patience. And now to what is probably the biggest beginner mistake of all: impatience. Many people change locations far too quickly because nothing has happened after a few days or a week. But many spots simply need time. Wild animals need to get used to new objects in their environment. Sometimes the first interesting images only appear after several weeks, and that's often exactly when the setup gets removed. If you have a location that looks promising based on tracks or terrain, give it time. For example, at one of my locations I had to wait more than 9 months before finally capturing an image of a lynx marking its territory on that particular tree. Very often, the most patient photographers are rewarded with the best images. Those were 5 common beginner mistakes in camera trap photography, plus one bonus tip that often makes the bigger difference. Now, I would love to know from you. Which mistakes did you make when you started camera trap photography? Or which one still happens to you occasionally? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more content about camera trap photography, any camera trap setups and wildlife imaging, feel free to subscribe. I regularly share new videos from my ongoing projects. See you in the next video!